call to order this meeting of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners and welcome all of you here tonight. We have a lot of people with us tonight because we're doing some real special things this evening. A lot of special recognitions. I'm very excited about all of them. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight by Carver Elementary School student Olivia Marie Garcia. Olivia, can you come up to the podium? Olivia is a student in Mrs. Boggs' first grade classroom at Carver Elementary School here in Wendell. If you are lucky enough to know Olivia, then you know that Olivia's smile and silly personality will immediately make your day better. She is a very kind, she's a very kind and generous friend to everyone that she meets. This year, Olivia has shown a lot of determination and perseverance, which has helped her grow tremendously in her academics. Your principal says that she is incredibly proud of you, Olivia, and can't wait to see you continue to develop into such an amazing young lady. We wanted to have you here tonight and congratulate you for being such a wonderful young lady and encourage you to continue working hard and tell you how proud we are of you and have you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Olivia. Our invocation tonight from the Wendell Council of Churches is from Wendell Baptist Church, Errol Briggerman. I don't see Errol. That's unusual. Would someone from the board like to step in for tonight?
I got you, Mayor.
Okay. Commissioner Joyner.
Father God, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for the time to celebrate wonderful things happening in Wendell as well as plan for the future of Wendell. We ask all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. Next, our public comment period. We have no one signed up for tonight, but I always like to give a reminder that you can participate in public comment by signing up the night of the meeting right here. If you attend in person, you have 3 minutes to speak, or you can submit written statements via email to the town clerk by the Friday before the board meeting before 5 p.m. Include your name and address for the record, and public comments timely received we read into the record for the length of 3 minutes. All right, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. We'll move into our recognitions, reports, and presentations. Item 4A is the recognition of the Wendell Rams Pee Wee and Mini Mites football teams. Someone from the Wendell Rams want to speak?
He's hiding back here behind the podium.
I can't see you behind there. I was like, did I not see Lynn?
I thought you were going on further.
No. It's Lynn Boykin, so everyone knows.
All right, I'm the president of the organization and the head Pee Wee football coach, and we got a lot of staff members here, and the head coach and the staff for the Mini Mites. I'd just like to say thank y'all for always supporting us, particularly you, Jenna. The board and has been behind the Rams for years, and we appreciate it. Thanks for recognizing us. Both teams were 11-0 undefeated, and we won the championship, or Super Bowl as they call it, I think November 18th in Fuquay. The Mini Mites beat Nash County, and the Pee Wees beat Fuquay, which was actually hosting it. So that was pretty good. To give you a little bit update on our season, like I said, we were 11-0, being the Pee Wees, and the Mini Mites were 11-0. The Mighty Mites had a tremendous season too. They made it. That's the 9 and 10-year-olds. But who don't know, The Pee-wees are the 11 and 12-year-olds. Mini Mites are 6, 7, and 8-year-olds. The Mighty Mites are 9 and 10-year-olds. They had a great season as well. They made it to the conference or the league semifinals, and they've won numerous Super Bowls too previously. So overall, we had a great year as a program. We pretty much, I'm not going to get into too much detail, but the league sets up a scoring system, or whereas after 28 points, they call it a mercy rule. Our Pee Wee and Mini Mite team mercy ruled quite a few teams to the fact that a lot of them quit during the middle of the game, which is not good. But in relation to the Mini Mite team, this is their first championship or Super Bowl since, I think, '09. And the first undefeated Mini Mite team ever. So that's a big accomplishment for Coach Jesse Troublefield. And he'll come up, if you don't mind, Jenna,
I don't mind. You have the floor.
and say a few words. But anyway, thank y'all again, and for letting us come up and speak a few words and recognizing us. Jesse?
Pleasure.
I'd just like to thank the board for this opportunity and the recognition. And on behalf of my Mini Mite staff, once again, we all thank you, along with our parents and our athletes that are here joining us today. And I thank you so much, once again.
You're welcome. I want to congratulate all of you, the coaches, the players, the moms and dads, all the family, the sponsors and everything. You all do a lot for the youth in Wendell, and a lot of people, unless they have a little boy or a little girl that's involved in your program, they may not be aware of it yet. And you do a lot for kids here, and our kids here really need you. So I wanted to thank you here tonight, and thank you for that. It's very, very important. Both of my sons played Pee-wees and loved it, and still talk about it, and still have Wendell Rams paraphernalia at my house that I wish they would come and get, because they have their own homes, but it's still at my house. So I have to tell you a funny story. I knew that the Pee-wees had beat Fuquay-Varina, and I ran into the Fuquay-Varina mayor a few days after that, and we had a little talk about that. So that's always fun. I don't know the Nash County people, or I would have done the same with them. So I always like to brag about y'all. So thank you for what you do for our kids here. I've seen rides, I've seen clothes bought, I've seen children fed, I've seen children nurtured who needed it badly when no one was looking. So thank you for that. It makes a big difference. So now, do you want to take some pictures?
Can I say one thing?
Teddy, yes, absolutely.
Teddy Strickland, defensive coordinator, retired this year after 25 years with Coach Lynn. I just want to let y'all know that we're thankful for what y'all have done for us. Jenna really especially has always been there for us. And when we have tough things or things going on, we can always turn to her. And it's good to have somebody in the town that backs you, that has a presence that can make a difference. A lot of people can tell you what a great job, but it's good to be in and friends with the ones that can make some changes. And also I'd like to say, I'm not leaving. I'm still football director, but I'm just stepping down from coaching, but I'm going to still be at the field like I've always been. And I'd like to recognize one person tonight is Tookie Gully. And the reason I say that is because, you know, me and Lynn, we've been together in the program 27 years. We coached 25 years together. Tookie Gully is the one that gave us our start coaching after we were in the program for 2 years. And that man, Tookie, don't try to hide back there, stand up. How many years, Tookie? 40-some. Huh? 40-some years at the 9 and 10-year-olds. That's dedication right there. So that's why we call him Papa Ram. So thank you, Tookie, for everything.
All right, let's take some pictures. Y'all want to get up here and line up?
Jenna, we got some T-shirts for y'all.
Oh, well, thank you.
Congratulations. I had a cheerleader, football player. I'm a step name's different. What back. I need to start sliding back. Congratulations.
I need your manager.
I want to touch it so bad. At least somebody's not here. Yo, you can game on this? Shut up. I'm like, I got really excited. You scared me. I'm more fun.
Linger behind them? Yeah.
4 inches can't my what? Got kicked.
How are you, sir? Good to see you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hey, good to see you guys. How you doing? Congratulations, everybody.
We didn't invite everybody.
That's pretty cool.
That would be positive.
I'm gonna download Fortnite. Log into my Khan account.
Hey, I will text you that deal about my Super Bowls and because I know how you deal with this apparel. Ain't nobody else know what to do.
I mean, I can.
We did the first in that, we had nobody there.
If y'all want to stay, you're welcome to stay,
Congrats.
but you don't have to. We'll be starting back in about a minute.
You ever want to change that vest, just let us know. You ever want to change that vest, just let us know. Hey.
I'm just checking.
See you, big guy.
You want a shirt?
Absolutely.
They're all mixed up. Large, medium. Might want to hold it up. Large, you want large? Okay, here's a large. Here's the extra large. Would you rather have extra large? Okay. I think there's medium, large, and extra large. Get it through and get out what you want.
Romance us.
Here's the extra large. What you want?
I feel like we should all wear them now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Senior Center bring t-shirt.
Please don't compare. Please don't compare.
I've got a statement to this.
Pretty unfair. We should have gone first.
Okay, let's come back to order. Excuse me. Item 4B is the recognition of Carver Elementary School, Miss Kayla Boggs. You can come up to the podium. This was submitted by your principal. Carver Elementary is proud to recognize Miss Kayla Boggs, excuse me, for her leadership as a first grade teacher and the positive impact she has on our total school environment. Fun fact about Miss Boggs, she was a student at Carver and is now a phenomenal first grade teacher in one of the classrooms she occupied as a student. That's incredible.
Yes.
Yes, that's a good thing. We like to know that. Ms. Boggs constantly goes above and beyond to meet the needs of her students and our school. The level of dedication that Ms. Boggs shows all of her students is inspiring to her colleagues. She sets high expectations for her students, and they strive to meet that level every day with support and encouragement from Ms. Boggs. The students in her room are excited to come to school and learn. Ms. Boggs frequently uses data to make instructional decisions in her classroom that ensures all of her students are successful. She plans fun and engaging activities for her students that foster the love of learning. Ms. Boggs has a beloved classroom community where students support each other and understand and celebrate their differences. It has been a pleasure watching the dedication she and her students have to enhancing student engagement through equitable practices. Ms. Boggs also demonstrates leadership in our school by serving as a grade level chair for first grade and being an active participant in our hospitality committee, Canvas crew team, and the Science School Improvement Committee. Additionally, this year, Ms. Boggs has taken on the role of mentor coordinator and has been building positive relationships across the school. It is evident that her heart is invested in our Carver Cubs and our school community, and we are delighted to honor her this evening. Well, that's very, very nice.
Very nice.
And very deserving, I'm sure. I have to share with you, I was at Carver recently for the Winterfest, and when I walked in, 5 different teachers came up to me at different times and said, "Have you met Miss Boggs? She's going to come to the next town board meeting," and they all knew, and they were so pleased for you. And I just thought it was really nice. We always have a lot of coworker support for this. All the teachers or administrators and all are always so happy for the one who has been chosen. But that just particularly on that evening struck me with how enthusiastic they were about you. And that's why I told you tonight I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity, because that's all I heard was, "Have you met her? How great she is." So I'm so pleased that I finally got to meet you. So
Well, they're
thank
they're disappointed I did not come in our Dalmatian outfit today, so.
Well, you can
You'll
always
have to
do
come
that.
back.
We would love that. So we just wanted to have you here, though, and thank you for everything that you do for our kids
Thank
in
you.
Wendell. It's so important, and I wanted to thank you for that. Our board wanted to thank you and recognize you for that. And
Well,
you're at
thank
school. I love Carver Elementary School.
Me too. I came back 20 years later.
I know, right? That's great. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on our agenda is item 4C, a proclamation recognizing January 27th, 2023 as the first annual Community Health Fair Day with Aging in Mind in the town of Wendell.
And the group who will come up has asked to share this video, so I'm going to share their video, then come up and put the presentation back up, and then if you'd like to tell the board a little about your event, and then the mayor will read your proclamation.
Okay.
Thank you. Whoop. And now it's not going to work for me. So, hold please. Maybe I can do this while the proclamation is read.
That's fine. Miss, why don't you tell us first, Miss Griggs, you're having an event this Friday?
Yes.
You're having an
Yes.
event this Friday.
Well, yes, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone here, especially.
Speak in the microphone so they can hear you.
Oh, I'm loud. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody here, especially you, Mayor, and Joe, who is representing us. I will tell you, I've never had an official before that on a Saturday morning before 6 o'clock, as I'm emailing, she's responding to emails to the mayor. And I was kind of embarrassed, but I was quite impressed. Yes, we are very excited. I'm here with Judy Howell and with Brittany Clark. Brittany Clark is with the Wendell Falls Association, and Judy is really the one that's leading the charge here. We are having the first annual health fair with aging in mind in Wendell. And the reason we are doing this is obviously Wendell's growing, but the reality is that group left, and look at the seats here. By 2034, the aging population from 60 forward will outnumber the children from 0 to 15. On 2034, that's not that many years away. So with that in mind, all of us really need to learn about our population, what the needs are. We're going to be introducing some very unique things, intergenerational activities, as well as we are privileged to have Professor Dr. Sol Guzman from Columbia has moved here, and she is now going to start being part of our program and teaching classes for us regarding memory care and regarding diabetes in Spanish. So with that said, we've got lots of people coming, and
it's this Friday.
It's this Friday from 10 to 3, and what's there going to be? Why don't y'all?
At the Wendell Community Center.
The Wendell.
We've got,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
get at the microphone, whoever's speaking, and face this way so that you're on the camera.
We have some amazing vendors coming. We have Wake Med coming. They are actually going to speak on some amazing resources that they're going to bring to the town of Wendell, which we're very excited about. Wake Tech will be involved. We have some great raffles. I'm not going to tell you because I'm going to make you come. So we have some good food trucks coming, so we're really excited, and we thank you so much.
And everything's free.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's free.
Well, thank y'all for having it.
Thank you so
Brittany,
much.
You've been very involved in it as well, so, and Jeannie and Judy, all of you, so thank y'all for that.
Thank you.
So you asked for a proclamation for this event. So we have a proclamation recognizing January 27th, 2023 as the first annual Community Health Fair Day with Aging in Mind in the town of Wendell. So whereas January 27th, 2023 will be the first annual Community Health Fair Day with Aging in Mind, in the spirit of community, the management teams of the Wendell Falls Community Association and the Eastern Wake Senior Center have collaborated to organize and present this event. And whereas, according to the United States Census Bureau, more than 56 million adults ages 65 and older live in the United States, accounting for about 16.9% of the nation's population. By 2030, when the last of the baby boomer generations ages into older adulthood, it is projected there will be more than 73.1 million older adults. And whereas nearly 17% of the United States adult population provides unpaid care to an adult over the age of 50, and whereas over 75% of these caregivers are women, and they spend on average almost an equivalent number of hours a week providing care as people traditionally spend at a full-time job. And whereas in the United States there are more than 9.5 million family caregivers, and their ranks are expanding daily. And whereas the Census Bureau projects that by 2034, older adults will outnumber children for the first time in the United States history. And whereas by 2040, 1 in 5 Americans will be 65 or older. That reflects a worldwide trend, with every country seeing more significant percentage of older people in its population, according to the World Health Organization. And whereas the World Health Organization predicts that by 2050, the global population of people 60 and older will double to 2.1 billion, and the number of people 80 and older will triple to 426 million. And whereas we will attempt to present companies that may present essential shifts that could make it possible for governments, businesses across sectors, not-for-profit organizations, health and well-being stakeholders, and individuals to unlock improvements in healthy aging, Now therefore, on behalf of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners, I, Virginia Gray, Mayor of the Town of Wendell, do hereby proclaim January 27th, 2023 as the first annual Community Health Fair Day with Aging in Mind in the Town of Wendell. Duly proclaimed this the 23rd day of January 2023, and it's signed by me. So
Thank
for me
you.
to give this to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Why don't you go up and get it, Brent? Oh, we can?
Well, thank you, ladies. This is a wonderful collaborative effort. It's very nice to see that. All right, item 4D is a presentation of the strategic plan draft initiatives. Mr. Collins.
Thank you. Staff's getting ready to start a 4-community meeting roadshow to roll out draft initiatives that have been developed. After, of course, meeting with y'all last fall in your board retreat, meeting individually with y'all and talking to you individually about your goals and thoughts, and then taking that and presenting the strategic plan process to your appointed boards. So the draft initiatives are going to be sent to y'all prior to these 4 meetings in the coming month on these strategic initiatives. We're going to let people say which ones that are more important to them so we understand that. Answer any questions about anything the town does, as always. We'll also have the project boards that we have at the special events out as well to help inform the public of ongoing and upcoming town projects. So this is a graphic you may have seen on our social media today, and it'll continue running during the length of these meetings. And you can see that the first one is this Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. at Wendell Falls Farmhouse in the Raleigh Room, which is around back downstairs. And anybody's welcome to go to any of these 4 meetings and provide their input. We'll get your name and address when you come in, so we know who we're talking with that night and count the number of unique individuals. Next one, Monday the 30th at Wendell Community Center, so over there at Wendell Park. The third one is February 7th at Pleasant Grove Carver Center. So there's the restored building off to the right with the cafeteria. It'll be there in the cafeteria room in that building, which is a good place to be with the projects kicking up, thinking about the strategic plan moving forward. And then Wednesday, February 15th, out at Edgemont Landing Clubhouse. So we're kind of hitting the corners of the town as we know it today. And welcome anybody to come out. We'll have some light refreshments and be a casual environment. Really tonight I want to let people know what the strategic plan is, because I think the average person isn't tracking that. So it's a high level plan. This is a guidance document. It's not going to have an in the weeds, how do we do things, or what exactly how things look like. These are very broad vision statement kind of initiatives that are high level. They guide the budget, and so it's helping provide direction of the organization. So if it's a big ship going in a direction, we're making sure we're going in the right direction with a plan like this. It also assigns resources. What are the staff and budgetary needs that we're going to need to do things? You start thinking about that to keep going in that direction. It's aligning those goals with the goals of the community. So what we've heard in our plans, and then pairing that with the available and planned resources. It demonstrates a commitment. It's more than going to a retreat and talking about something. It's putting your words, your vision and values on paper, and then committing to that in the next two budget processes. And it extends past efforts and makes adjustments as needed. This is the third written strategic plan for the town of Wendell, so it's a relatively new process with our town growth. You still have to say things, even if you've heard it a few times. We have new residents here every day, so we need to keep saying things. But this is a relatively new thing of putting the strategic plan to writing and connecting it closely to y'all's adopted budgets. So the strategic plan has 5 goals, 5 goal areas. And so I'm just going to briefly talk about what that is. So when people come to the meeting, they'll be able to see, like, oh, I'm worried about this kind of thing or that kind of thing. They'll be able to see kind of which goal they might want to go to. Goal 1 is downtown vibrancy, economic growth, and community character. So this is how we grow the economic activity. Downtown issues tend to fall into this area. You can see it's to promote economic vitality through the development of a vibrant downtown, economic growth, and unique community character. It allows us to make sure that we're preserving what's important. It's making sure that we are ensuring that development has characteristics that we want to see in a new community, that we're protecting our historic downtown and making sure that it has the vibrant activities and businesses that attract people to Wendell. How do we attract jobs and diversification of our economy fall into this? The second goal is public safety and neighborhood improvement. So it's providing a safe and secure community that nurtures livable and well-maintained neighborhoods that are family-friendly. This goes from like CALIA accreditation for the police department, how making sure that their philosophy of community engagement philosophy is implemented, that they're able to provide resources to people in need or in crisis. It deals with neighborhood improvement. It deals with making sure that people have a safe environment to live in a built environment. Community cleanups would fall into this area. Making sure that there's safe routes to school or within a neighborhood. Goal 3 deals with infrastructure, transportation, and the environment. If you will, this is kind of the public works realm of the goals, is to develop and maintain infrastructure and policies to support new growth, improve the quality of life for residents, provide clean and green environment. Road programs, sidewalks, stormwater, solid waste, bikeways. See how we deal with facilities, removing debris, clearing snow, any kind of service that's in that area. That's the policies and initiatives in this area. Goal 4, parks, recreation, special events, open space, and culture. I think they're all fun, but I'm a government nerd, but people outside of government may say this might be more the fun one. So it's establishing facilities, events, and programs that connect the community, promote healthy lifestyle opportunities, and culturally engage citizens and visitors. We've added open space. That was a conversation that the board had during its retreat. So you see open space now included in Goal 4 this year. The goals were already there, but recognizing that y'all have provided a commitment to acquiring open space and passive recreation land in the past year, and also ensuring that it's meaningfully in development. But this one's exciting because it gets into different, all the new parks, the recreation facilities, greenway construction. There's a significant amount of work that we do in the space in the town, and we have to do in the next 10 years. And the next 2 years will be a lot of getting stuff on the ground and really capitalizing the future of this space for Wendell. Goal 5 is kind of the glue that holds it all together. It's our organizational culture and communication. So it's to build a professional and inclusive town organization that is fiscally responsible, seeks innovative practices, and values the development of staff. Y'all's policy has been, and from y'all's conversation recently, continues to be a people-first organization. Your employees provide customer service to your citizens. And that understanding allows us to build an organization that values its employees, values its citizens, and creates a culture where people want to belong and be part of. It's proud to be part of that organization myself. Get choked up just saying it. But these goals and policy goals that y'all place value on make sure that we're spending money in a very efficient manner also, that we're innovative in how we do things, and that we use technology in smart ways. So those are the 5 goals that the initiatives will be available for public input. And after we receive that input, our next steps, we're not done then. We compile everything that we've heard the past few months, and then we bring it back to you, and you put value to it. The value that y'all, all of the initiatives are important in the strategic plan. Then y'all let us know kind of which ones are a little more important to a majority of you. And then you also, through the prioritization process, identify which ones are more important to a consensus of you, a supermajority of you. And that helps in that budget development and staff and departments developing their budget. They'll be able to make sure that the resources and staff are appropriately weighted towards the things that are more important. We still work on the other things when we're available, but it gives us weight. Placing value is a policy statement. So that's your realm, as you know. After that, we'll present the draft at the second March board meeting for adoption. Then it'll be included in the next 2 years' budgets. When you see it in the budget, you also see how that budget is implementing the plan, so how that's funded. It's not everything we do, but how that budget connects to it. So that ties your biggest annual policy document, your budget, to your strategic plan, the direction that we're going. And then we report regularly to y'all on what we're doing, whether it's a Friday manager's message to you or a monthly report at a board meeting or quarterly report or at retreats. And then at the end of 2 years, we repeat the process again. It just becomes green. It's a living, constantly evolving process. And I'll leave that up, and if you have any questions about where we are in the strategic planning process or any comments or thoughts you may want to share at this point, I'm happy to accept them.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Got a comment, Madam Mayor. I was looking on the board and I realized that a majority of the board, or at least 50% of the board, has changed since the manager was hired. And I remember sitting back in the conference room when we interviewed the manager, and he said in that interview, you guys need a plan. When you hire me, we're going to go through a series of plans, and there's one thing that can become a problem, and that's if you don't want something to happen and you put it on a plan. I appreciate the thoroughness. I'm looking at the community meetings. I'm looking at the things that are included in the plan. There's something there for everybody, but the level of detail and the level of community engagement and the level of, I will be completely frank, the first time I thought it was a great line. I thought it was a heck of a way to get hired. I thought it was a lot of things, but thinking it was the truth was not one of the things that I initially thought.
I believed you.
The having and I now tell other boards when I talk to other folks that are in this line of work, having a strategic plan that then spins off into all your other plans is an important part for you and for your staff. Mr. Manager, thank you for this. I look forward to hearing what comes back. The mayor's well known for liking a plan. I think we have a couple type other. I'm not the type A planner. There's a couple more of those on this board. But I do love seeing the results that have come in a short amount of time in a variety of areas. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Joyner. I don't know if you noticed, I was sitting here smiling the whole time you were reading that, because I get so excited to watch things start at the beginning and go through the process, and we decide we're going to do something. It becomes part of our budget. It's part of our strategic plan. There's no questions when we're doing things. It's just, I'm going to say it's very easy. It's easy for us, that y'all do all the work, but and things are coming to fruition that we wanted to see happen. It just pleases me more than I can even express, to see some of these things, the parks, and, and I hope that people will come to the meetings. We want to know what they think. We want to know what you think about it. Come tell them. Tell them what you think. We want to know. But it's very rewarding, and your efforts make our job easier. And I remember when you said that. So I remember when he said that.
I always find it funny because y'all remember that story from the interview. I remember y'all asking me at that final lunch, did I like golf carts? And all of y'all getting quiet, and the town attorney looking over at me and raising an eyebrow like, how you gonna handle this one, candidate? And I asked the board at that time how many had golf carts, and a strong majority raised your hands, and I said, I like golf carts.
Love golf carts.
That's the story I tell from that interview, Jason, but I appreciate it. A strategic plan is a reflection of a partnership. It's the document that shows the elected body representing the community with the leadership of the town organization out on a bridge together. It's not the efforts of any one group, but it's a combined effort of both of us together, and it's a commitment in a written document to our community that this is meaningful, and we're going to advance these efforts. We're going to do our best with the resources that the community is willing to provide us. And that's it. So staff also thanks you for your commitment to your plans, because it provides a clear direction for us to advance the work of this community. So thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. All right, we have no public hearings tonight, so we'll move into our administrative items. Item 6A is the Wendell Athletic Field Complex Design Concept and authorization to submit a proposal to Wake County for hospitality tax small capital projects funding. We're going to hear from Assistant Town Manager Stephanie Smith.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As you mentioned, I'm before you tonight to request a motion to authorize the manager to submit a proposal for hospitality grant through Wake County. We will be, with your approval, submitting a grant application for what we are calling the Wendell Athletics Field Complex, which is located next to the current town park. The concept design was prepared by Withers Ravenel as authorized by the board so that we would be able to submit for this funding. We came up with the design based on input through a meeting with the Wendell Rams as well as the North Carolina Football Club. So they had an opportunity to provide input on the proposed design. They've also provided letters of support for the application. So it was a really collaborative effort to prepare this application for grant submittal. As a reminder, the section of land highlighted in blue is Track 2. This is where the field complex would be located. It's currently owned by Wake County. As part of this process, we would be acquiring the land from Wake County. We're already in discussions to do that process. The green here is the proposed future site for a new community center. And then, of course, beyond that property is where the current community center is located. So this field complex would tie into our existing park property. So this is the master plan concept for the Wendell Athletic Field Complex. I'll go into the specific details of all that is included on the next slide, but just wanted to give you an overview. could see the football field notated right off of the parking lot. That field would also be able to be used for soccer. Same thing with the multi-use field. This would be available for practice or cheerleading through the Wendell Rams organization. This could also be used for soccer games. And then the 3 fields along the bottom are connected to each other. These are proposed to be artificial turf fields. So they would primarily be used for soccer. All 5 fields would technically be considered multi-use fields, but we want to be clear in our application that they would be sized and appropriate for 5 soccer fields if needed by North Carolina Football Club. So like I said, 5 multi-purpose fields, 1 for soccer could also be used, or 1 for football could also be used for soccer or lacrosse. That is a lit field and it would be fenced in as per input from the Wendell Rams and how they currently operate their games. They need a fenced-in space. There would also be a concession stand and restroom facility that would be concessions on either side of the building, so whether you were inside or outside of the fence. It does include maintenance facilities as well as a field house, so the Rams would be able to completely move their operations to this location and store all of their football equipment. We would have picnic shelters and walking trails. Of course, drainage and stormwater management facilities are a less glamorous but important part of any project like this. The walking trails would take you around the complex, but also would eventually tie into our Buffalo Creek Greenway project, which you are getting ready to begin design for. And then there would be an access road. The athletic field complex is located on International Drive. International Drive would eventually extend into the park. We plan to have bollards on that road, so it wouldn't be able to be used as a cut-through, but it would be available for larger scale events to connect to overflow parking for the current park, but also the future community center site. So a little bit of information about the grant funding that we're pursuing. It is the Wake County Hospitality Tax Small Capital Projects Funding. It's due this Thursday by 3 o'clock. We are requesting $3.5 million. This is the maximum amount that any single organization is eligible to receive. There's a total of $8 million that the county has made available through this funding this year. The request cannot exceed 45% of your total project capital costs. We don't have to worry about that because our total project estimate is $9 million. So this would be about 39% of that total project cost. Projects that are selected for funding will enter into an agreement with Wake County, and the county funding for approved projects would not be distributed until the organization can demonstrate that other sources of funding for the approved project are obtained. That's part of why we're before you tonight, to get approval from the board to authorize the manager to submit for that grant funding. If the board so chooses to authorize, we have prepared a letter of support for the mayor to sign to be included in the application. Withers is here tonight if you have any technical questions about the project design, but I'm also happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions from the board? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Technical one to start with maybe. Can you just talk a little bit more about the road connection, and maybe it might just be restating what you said, but the bollards and where I'm coming from, I guess in my mind it makes sense to have, I think about this as an expansion of the town park. When I think about bollards and that sort of thing, it sounds more like an extra thing that is near the existing town park, but 2 very distinct entities with separate entrances and stuff. Can you just talk about how y'all are thinking about that?
So
Talk about it a little bit.
Sure. So at the top of the map here, you see Industrial Drive, and you can kind of see the dotted line here where the future road connection would tie right into the existing community park. Mm-hmm. So the logic behind designing that road with bollards is the concerns that we had heard that people are going to figure out that that's kind of a cut through if you want to avoid traveling on part of Wendell Boulevard, if you want to quickly cut through that park. We want it to remain a safe space for park users. So the intended initial idea would be to include bollards, but the core purpose would be to connect the road into the existing park. That section of the project has not been designed yet. So we would still be seeking input, we would still be designing that exact portion of road, so nothing is set in stone at this time.
And is that part of the $9 million?
It is not.
Project, okay. And then sort of segue there to the budget piece. What's the remaining, that difference, I'm not doing good math in my head right now, is it 5.5? That would be the delta there between this total grant availability and the total project budget. Is that something that's in our, sort of, as we're programming out years of capital stuff in this year's budget, or is that something we would be talking about in the 2024 fiscal year budget that we're running up into pretty soon, development process?
This is a project that's in the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, but is not funded or identified in the capital improvement plan. So this is an additional project that's come up this year with the acquisition of this property and the tourism funds being made available after they've been on hiatus during COVID. This would be a likely project that would be suitable for future borrowing capital. If the board so chose to do that, to implement plans. There's not a commitment at the time of application to have all of that determined, like exactly which funding source would be used. There's just a time window in which that has to be dedicated and expenditures made in their timeline. So that would be working with the financial advisor on capitalizing our capital budget for the next 5 years. This would fall out within the first 3.
And what's that window on the grant?
They are requesting that building permits are in hand within 12 months, and then construction is complete the following 2 years, so a total of 3 years from when the grant would be awarded. The Wake County tentative schedule is the selection would be made in the spring. They're tentatively saying April, but of course it would be their board's decision as to when they would appropriate that fund.
So I want to, I think, ask the same question, maybe a little bit more plain English. This project is almost as much as the new town hall. It's more than, it's more than a lot of things I've seen. It doesn't currently connect, which means as soon as we get done with this, we're all going to be looking at the project right beside it to make it connect. Hang on, Mr. Manager, it would seem to me that the only version of paying for this would be through a bond. I know that we just hired counsel at the last meeting to go through that process. Is this something that we feel like timeline-wise, could we allow the voters to vote on a bond and still be in the window to capture this $3.45 million?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so if they voted in fall, that's still within the design window. So we can always get design going, and then if this is something that the board and the public wanted to do in that manner, then we could then issue bonds after that for the construction of it. So that is a bond eligible project if y'all decided to do a Parks and Recreation borrowing of some sort. But that, again, is a decision that y'all would be working through in the upcoming budget process. Their grant approval isn't until after y'all have had that discussion. So there's no commitment tonight that you will have to do that moving forward. Their decision isn't until late April, is our understanding on this. And so y'all are already have a recommended budget and have your budget retreat and given staff direction on this area by that time. This is just meeting their application deadline and being eligible for that. If it's too early, the next round is they've messaged out would likely not be for 2 to 3 years from now, so it would push what is a needed service in our town. Currently, soccer and lacrosse is traveling out of town. A lot of residents travel out of town, so that's a common service that we're asked for. Wendell Rams is in a very dated facility. They see newer facilities when they travel and play. They also they're a tenant on a school property. And so this would also resolve that recreation program, tenant issue and dated field facility that's also not ADA compliant. I also noticed the cost of recreation facilities far exceeds town halls. I believe, Fuquay and Garner have some that have come back in the 20 million range for recreation centers lately. So they are costly, but they're also desired by a lot of residents.
What does the letter say? Can you just like give me a quick, you don't have to read the whole thing, but like what are we actually committing to in the letter? Can you just say?
It's just reaffirming the board's desire to pursue this grant, and kind of summarizes what the project is and the other organizations that have provided their support as well.
But all external support to this point is non-financial.
Correct.
So Football Club in North Carolina would be pursuing a similar arrangement as the Knightdale field complex that was on the Wake Stone property. So we'll be working into a management and maintenance agreement with them to operate the fields and maintain them. Wendell Rams will also be a party to that agreement, and the understanding would be is they'd bring in the same resources they bring for the school facility to this facility to help maintain and staff and run those facilities. So it's more of a commitment of the town to provide capital up front with ongoing maintenance and operations to the user groups predominantly.
In regards to these kind of other organizations we've reached out to, the Rams and the NCFC, how is that setup going to look like? Is this going to be something we're maintaining the fields? I know you just alluded to that a little bit. We're maintaining the fields and they're renting from us. How does that work?
Football Club of North Carolina lines the fields, they schedule the fields, they do all the maintenance on the fields. If it's a natural surface field, they cut the grass, they make sure everything is the way they need it for their use. They rotate use on the fields to make sure it's not over-programmed. So they do everything that we would do if we were running it as our field. So it would be a tri-party agreement that outlines the duties of the individual organizations. We'd look to model it much like the town of Knightdale has for their Wake Stone property, which has been good for both parties. And that's what we've modeled our facility and effort on this for. It was also a project that submitted and received funding through the small tourism grant the last time this.
The last cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're taking someone else's will and writing Wendell on it and rolling it out.
But at the end of the day, just so and I appreciate the flowery words, but we got the title to the land, we own the fields, and whatever arrangements we reach with third parties is something we would do after we've gone through that process. Right now, we have a show of support from community groups that would be very interested and who we think we'd be very interested in working with.
100%.
Thank you, sir. Madam Mayor, for a motion.
Yep.
I move we authorize the town manager to submit a proposal to Wake County Hospitality Tax Small Projects Funding for the Wendell Athletic Field Complex.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to authorize the town manager to submit a proposal to Wake County for hospitality tax small projects funding for the Wendell Athletic Field Complex. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Quickly.
Yeah.
Earlier tonight, I heard some of our Wendell Rams friends say that it's good to hear people say that we support what you do, but actually supporting what you do is a whole other thing. This is a big project. This is potentially a really, really great thing for Wendell too. So I think that over the next few months after this conversation tonight, we as a group up here, but also we collectively as a community are going to have some real serious conversations about what our appetite is for making these kind of investments. I've been saying invest for a long time, and I think everybody else up here has too. That's not specific to me. But I think, we're growing really quick. We gotta keep up the facilities, whether that's park facilities, making interchange improvements and some of the transportation infrastructure, sidewalks and greenways and all the things you hear us talk about every time. So feels like this is the year to have the conversation about what is our appetite for keeping up and matching and meeting the growth that we're facing. So appreciate y'all being here and sticking around to this part, and I think we'll want you to be an important part of that conversation to help us make the call for what's right for Wendell. So I'm excited, but I think this is one piece of a bigger conversation that we're going to have to keep having for the rest of the year to ultimately all get behind a really exciting project.
The football teams, the football club and the Wendell Rams and whatever soccer organizations and whatever lacrosse organizations, there are lots of prongs, there are lots of pieces to this. So this isn't just for any one group. I mean, we're just making sure, or the staff is making sure that we have things available for a variety of sports uses. And we're kind of trying to catch up because we're behind the game when it comes to stuff like this.
And thank you for saying, I'm mainly only saying Wendell Rams because we started there, I'm looking at you, and you're the ones that gave me the idea earlier about there's a difference between saying we support it and doing something to support it. It being youth sports in Wendell for our community, this is a great opportunity to do that and more, so just looking forward to budget conversation. This will come back up, I think.
Yeah, it's for a lot of things. Okay, so restate the motion to authorize the town manager to submit a proposal to Wake County for the hospitality small project funding for the Wendell Athletic Field Complex. Is there any other discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. And we'll move into our other business, update on board committee members by town board members. And we'll start with Campo, Commissioner Eatman.
Two big updates from our Campo meeting last week, and the first, I'm going to keep on this soapbox that I've just been on, was the 2024 LAP projects. There's those local projects, sometimes smaller projects that we talk about a lot. The closest one to us in the 2024 cycle is a update or realignment of the intersection of Rollsville Road and Riley Hill Road, which while it feels a little bit closer to Rollsville than it does to us, it's actually the northern tip of the 27591 zip code, so those folks live in Wendell or have a Wendell address. They feel like they're part of the community too, and so do I. That's also the heart of my family farm for the last couple hundred years, not mine specifically, but my extended family. But the point I make, and the reason I bring it up, is those little interchange realignments go a long way, I think, to making traffic impacts, and I think that's a place that we've got to continue to focus, both with our own funds and also continuing to move forward with the LAP projects that we had funded in Wendell. Is that the 2021 cycle? A couple years ago. But I know that we have almost completed our work on easement acquisition for those projects around sort of the Wendell Falls Parkway, Wendell Boulevard, Academy Street, Marshburn Road. Think about the area around Wendell Elementary School, some exciting improvements there. All the way out to Food Line, I guess, along that part of Wendell Boulevard related to sidewalks and connectivity. So excited about those little projects and finding ways that sometimes small projects can have big impacts. And then the other big point of conversation at Campo, and I think big point of conversation for the Triangle for the next few years when it comes to transportation, is commuter rail. I've talked about it before, but I think we're at a point right now where we've got some real numbers and some real plans that have been put together and put forward by Campo. I'm happy to share details on those with anybody who's interested, but we're in a public engagement period right now until the middle of February. And it's a big investment, similar to some of these other ones we're talking about. And I think it's a conversation that everybody who lives in our community regionally should be interested in and engaged in, and make your opinion known, whatever that is, whether or not you think this is a smart investment of funds for the future of transportation in our region. And that's first step, commuter rail on the North Carolina Railroad corridor. Think about where Amtrak goes from Johnston County up to Durham, through Raleigh, of course, and Cary. And then potentially that opening the door for additional commuter rail opportunities in the future, which is part of the reason I always like to talk about it, because we have a railroad track here too. That's it for tonight. Thank you.
Eastern Wake Senior Center, Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As we heard tonight, we've got a big event coming up this Friday, 27th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It is a free event, so I will emphasize that again. Numerous health screenings. They will have a raffle as well with the kid area, I believe. So, all folks are welcome. And again, that is free. So, thank you, Jenny and Judy, for being here tonight. I sing the praises often of the senior center, so I always love having you guys present. So thank you to them. Thank you to Wendell Falls, partnering with them as well. But participation is growing, and lots of great stuff going on. 55 and older, so don't think that it's a 70 plus or 65 or 62, 55 and older. And I'm not there yet, but won't be long. So thank you guys.
Wake County Fire Commission, Commissioner Joyner.
I had like 3 different comments about the 55 and the older comment, and I'm gonna let them all just rest where they are. Wake County Fire Commission met last month, and discussed a couple things. One, Wake County has more ISO rated 1 fire departments than any other county in the state. Wendell, now has that distinction of being a ISO rated 1 department. And I know we talked about it in the fall. It was the first fire commission meeting since then. And I grew up with a dad that was a firefighter. I went to work in EMS. I very much have grown up in a world where your ISO rating was a thing that you discussed. I understand that I'm talking to a lot of people who probably have no understanding of what an ISO rating is, nor do you care. That said, the absolute best version of fire service that could be provided to you is what you are being provided in the town of Wendell. And I think that matters. And it's a lot to do with the county structure. It's a lot to do with the way things have been set up and the way things have been funded in the county with some of the long-term plans. But I wanted to re-highlight that to you. And the other piece of that I thought the Fire Commission did well was we routinely now monitor response times for every department in the county, but we do it at a level that is so granular we can tell you who calls 911 the most and what areas. Wendell particularly was a red dot on the map, and when we went to figure out why it took longer, the fire chief already knew why it took longer. Everyone in Wendell knew why it took longer. The data shows there's 22 speed bumps in this particular neighborhood that is in just outside of town, but that is why the fire service in Wake County is top tier, because we are constantly running numbers and data to measure every single outcome that we can possibly measure. And that is why we are also one of the best funded fire services around, because when the question is asked, similar to what you hear when we ask our staff a question, there's an answer that comes back with data that can prove or show exactly what we're doing and why. So that is all I have, Madam Mayor, for the Fire Commission.
Thank you. Let's go right into our commissioners' comments and stay with Commissioner Joyner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Several things, and I'm going to count on my colleagues down the board to catch me on the things that we don't. The oyster roast for the Wendell Rotary Club is February 4th at Wendell Country Club. It is the now 2nd annual. Commissioner Eatman has authorized us to call it annual now. A great time to raise money for a lot of good projects that go on in Wendell. Also, based on my math, you'll have a majority of the board there serving you oysters and shrimp and chowder and all the beverages you so choose. So it was a really fun time last year. I look forward to having folks out for that this year. And I believe that is all I remember. The piece of paper is not in my shirt pocket where I put it. So.
Think of something, we can come back to you. Commissioner Lutz?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I was excited about the last item with the open fields and spaces. Since I've been in town in Wendell here, one thing I've seen as a continual trend over the years, and as my kids have gotten older, is that Wendell does a great job of their youth sports and what they offer and how they run it. And there's a reason we have kids from Zebulon and other nearby towns come and play here. Having said that, there's also the knowledge that families, speaking for my family and families in our age, they want to have these opportunities for their kids. And we were in a tournament over the weekend in Greenville, North Carolina, and having these different parks, these different places where you can host soccer games and other sporting events, is a big boost for that area. I know even the restaurant we went to after one of the games, one lady come in and was like, "Gosh, you soccer people keep coming all day long." I mean, they're busy, and so it's good not just for the town, but for the businesses in that town, and people will go and travel and leave their town if what they want is not being offered to. So I think whenever we can plan for the future and plan on having projects and plan on having open spaces and fields and eventually gyms and community centers, I think this is a huge thing for our town, not just from a Chamber of Commerce, tourism perspective, but also from a standpoint of what we're offering our citizens and what opportunities we're giving for our youth and our kids to have different varieties of sports and to get out and play and not have to leave our town, and more importantly, to keep that reputation of being a good, solid parks department strong here. So that's all.
Commissioner Eatman?
It's that time of year when I feel like there's not enough events, so I'm glad that Commissioner Joyner's mentioned the Rotary Club. I'll mention one more on February 9th. That's a couple Thursdays from now. The Little River Ducks Unlimited Banquet is going to happen at King Hill Farm. So that's our local Ducks Unlimited chapter, and if conservation and open space and outdoorsmanship are important to you like they are to me, I hope that I'll see you there.
Okay. Commissioner Deloach?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll touch on the soccer thing as well. Knowing, having worked and growing up in Greenville, having worked at the Parks and Rec Department, tremendous soccer program there. They have a tremendous facility in Wilson as well. So I will only say that while I love Wilson and Greenville, there's no reason why we shouldn't have something like that matches that. So I'm extremely excited about that. Thursday night, Chamber of Commerce banquet is coming up. So if you don't have a ticket, I think they might have a few more, a couple days left for that. And yes, the oyster roast coming up as well. But you know, a lot of cool stuff here tonight. So thank you to everyone for coming out. You know, the park thing is important because, you know, we preach connectivity often, and, you know, just the green space, the Parks and Rec projects, the connectivity, you know, walking, bikes, the Ballards. Siri, are we leaving yet? Sorry. But anyway, it's an exciting time. We got a lot going on, and appreciate all of staff's efforts on that. So, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to skip the reminder of the health fair and the chamber banquet. By the time we get to me, sometimes we've hit those things so many times, but I'm looking forward to both of them. I'm very excited to see our Parks and Recreation and our parks growing all over Wendell. I'm looking forward to all the things that we have planned. It's very appropriate that we've got so many things kind of really hitting their own stride this year. I think it's the year of the parks in North Carolina. So we have a lot of park things that we're doing. We have greenways coming on. We have a lot of things going on and projects that go along with that theme. And they didn't name it after us, but maybe they should have looked to Wendell to think about that when they did, because we're doing a lot of those kinds of projects this year. It's very exciting to me. I'm also excited about the draft strategic plan. I hope that the citizens will participate. You have 4 opportunities. As we said earlier, please participate. We want to know, we want to hear from you. We want to know your opinion. This is your town, your plan, really, and we just sit here and try to implement your wishes. So please try to participate and get to that and share your thoughts. We would like to know what you think. All right, so I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We're adjourned.